Welcome to Law and Society. Today is going to be another warning ahead of the No Kings protest. I would like for all of you to know, if you don't know already, that MAGA leaders are going out and loudly claiming that the No Kings protest is a hate rally, is a terrorist rally, an Antifa rally, and all of that creates the premise for Donald Trump to say, okay, these protests and these organized protesters fall under NSPM 7 and therefore can be designated as domestic terrorists, and then sic the federal agents on these protests. It also creates the pretext for Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act if there's any violent reaction to federal agents and federal agents and even the guard being present at these protest rallies. So we have to be very careful about agitators. We know that there are going to be federal agents who will provoke. We know that there's going to be ICE, DHS people who are going to provoke just by their mere presence. We also know that there are provocateurs who are sort of auxiliaries, MAGA auxiliaries, who are there to instigate, provoke, and create discord. Do not fall for it. Also remember that the No Kings protests were scheduled months and months before the shutdown that is going on right now. It's on its 16th day. And it did not become a part of the No Kings protest narrative until it became obvious that Donald Trump was being a mad king, shutting down the government because Democrats demanded that Americans still be able to access affordable health care. That's all the difference is. Democrats want an extension of ACA, Affordable Care Act subsidies, and they want a reversal of the $1 trillion+ cuts to Medicaid from the big bad bill that was passed by the Republicans. And in order to not provide for basic insurance, health insurance for millions and millions of Americans, Republicans shut the government down. Remember, Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, and the Supreme Court. So if they wanted, they could vote against the filibuster and pass their legislation, their continuing legislation that they're calling a clean bill, because it doesn't include health care subsidies and doesn't include the welfare of millions of Americans. So No Kings had nothing to do with the government shutdown until the shutdown happened. Then it became another talking point for the No Kings narrative. Then you have Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, going out and publicly saying, no kings, no paychecks. So they themselves are following this imperial mindset. I mean, the regime couldn't get any more imperial short of coronation and destruction of our republic. My friend online, Melissa Jopatier, says, to me, this is code for we're going to plant pro-Hamas disguises, signs, and dress up people in black and pretend they're Antifa and infiltrate your most high-profile protests. Maybe throw in a few Marxist slogans as well. Yeah, that's very likely that's how they're going to go about creating discord, by planting Hamas people and saying, oh, look, it's not Hamas people, but people coming out with Palestinian flags for the Palestinian cause of not killing thousands of Palestinians, but something that the government can point to and say, hey, oh, look, they're pro-Hamas, when that's not who they are. And then I talked to you about the provocateurs, and here's a major provocation. Under the guise of the militaries of the Marines' 250th anniversary, Vice President Vance is going to personally oversee military drills where the military, the Navy, is going to have live drills with missiles being shot across the I-5 interstate in Los Angeles, headed for Camp Pendleton as a drill exercise to show a show of force to commemorate the Marines' anniversary and the eve of the 250th anniversary. Now, what is that if that's not a show of force to intimidate protesters? You know why I-5 will be blocked now. Because it is going to be a location over which there's going to be live ammunition going during a military drill that just coincidentally happens to fall on the day of the No Kings Day. Again, the No Kings protests have been scheduled for months and months and months. And here we have Donald Trump's regime creating a false narrative, provoking people, not just by having MAGA auxiliaries, not just by NSPM 7 and federal agents looking for a fight and federal agents provoking and intimidating peaceful protesters. Now you have military drills that are going to happen, and the rockets are going to be flying across California. This is all creating an atmosphere that is not peaceful in its nature, coming from the regime. And therefore, when we as No Kings, when we as the Frogs, when we go out to peacefully protest anywhere in the country, keep an eye out for provocateurs. Keep an eye out for federal agents trying to create a ruckus. Keep an eye out for anybody who is getting too riled up with federal agents. Always avoid confrontations. Record everything. Take water with you. Go with friends. And always remain peaceful. With that said, stay safe. Please share the word and warn people about what is happening, because it is important that the world sees that Americans love our democracy, and we show that very strongly by protesting massively and peacefully. If we can accomplish that on Saturday, and it's an easy goal to accomplish, then we will have shown the world that American democracy and the American Republic still stands despite provocations from a fascist regime under the guise of, blaming it as terrorist rallies and hate rallies, when all we are seeing with our own eyes are dancing frogs and sharks. So keep up that mirth, that joy in your protest. That gives you strength. Keep up the peace in your protest. That gives you constitutional power. That will require the government to have a compelling interest that is narrowly tailored to stop you from exercising your First Amendment rights. All right, take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon.